Hello and welcome to Doubles and Trebles. Just over a week to go until British Champions Day at Ascot, the grand finale of the British flat season. 4 Group 1s, a Group 2 and a cracking handicap to finish the day. Just going to be taking a look at the main stories, potential runners and potential bets at this stage. There's only one place to start, and that is with Baid. He looks to finish his career with a perfect 11 from 11 in the Champion Stakes. He's 1-3 to do so. This will only be his second start over 10 furlongs, and he's almost certain to face a stiffer task than he did in winning the Juddmonte International at York a few weeks ago. Adayar, the 2021 Derby winner, and Bay Bridge, who looked a potential superstar at the start of this season, but hasn't fulfilled that. They look like to be the chief contenders or opposition to Baid at this stage. Like I say, is 1-3 to do so, and rightly so. There's a host of other potential rivals that ran at Arc Weekend that may or may not turn up. Verdani was second in the Arc, has an entry. Last year's winner, Sealaway, who also ran in the Arc, probably will run in the Champion. Al Hakim was third in the Arc, has an entry in this. Ernesto, there's plenty of others as well who ran on Arc Weekend. Adabe, a former winner of this race, but has not been great recently for William Haggis, is also entered as well. So plenty of potential runners. Will they be put off by the presence of Baid? Possibly. No one's going to get close to Baid, let's be honest. He's an absolute superstar, has been all season. He's the best horse we've seen for a few years, that is for sure. Let's hope the rain stays away and we get some proper ground for him to race on, to be honest. So yeah, that's what we'll be hoping for. Some good, well, at least not heavy or very soft ground, and hopefully Baid can go out with a bang. In a normal year, Adayar and Bay Bridge would make up a decent field for the Champion Stakes, but they're very much playing for second in my mind. The without the favourite markets would be interesting on the day. Currently, Adayar's in there about 5-1. Bay Bridge is double the price. Could be an interesting little matchup between those two, but realistically, they're playing for second. Next up is the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes over a mile. And the one Group 1 really on Champions Day that is least impacted by Arc Weekend. Most of the guys in the market didn't run at Arc Weekend, or the two French contenders definitely did, but the British ones didn't. Inspiral is your 5-4 favourite. I'm not sure at the price, but I don't know really. She's a shade of odds on in places. This could be a small field race. This QE2. Just on Inspiral, she's put up 2 wonderful performances this season. Electric in the Coronation Stakes and won well in the Jacques Le Marois in France, which is their premier Group 1 for over a mile in France. Won that quite well, beating some good horses. The French provide the next 2 in the market. The Revenant, who won this race in 2020, was 4th last year, was beaten last time out by a horse called Erivan, who posted a career best when winning the Group 2 pre-Daniel Wildenstein on Arc Weekend. We usually see the Revenant in that race en route to Ascot. We did again this year. He was second this year, though. Erivan would be a massive contender, in my mind, if she was running in this race, but Jean-Claude Rouget, the trainer, is on record saying that she's now going to be targeted. It's all about next year with Erivan. The likes of the Queen Anne, the Jacques Le Marois, so they're very much looking to the future. Erivan is only a 3-year-old, has been improving this year out of the Barwi. But looks at this stage to be an unlikely runner, which is a shame because I do think we could end up with a small field. The Revenant will, of course, run. He does every year. He's a 7-year-old now. He's about 11-2 as well. Maljoum is next in the market. Won the German Guineas earlier in the season for William Haggis. He's a 7-1 shot for this. Hasn't been seen since being bang unlucky in the St. James's Palace Stakes at Royal Ascot. That's a long time off. I don't know why he's been off, and it's a long time off for such a hot race like this. So when I initially look at it and you see Inspiral in there at 5-4, as short as 10-11 with some suppliers, you think, oh, that's a bit short. But really, I don't think there could be many runners because away from those mentioned, we're looking at horses that are either unlikely to run or nowhere near good enough on form showed in their life thus far. Modern Games wants quick ground and looks Breeders' Cup bound. Similar comments could apply to Order of Australia. Homeless Songs was bombed out badly last time and the time before, arguably. Check and Challenge and Bayside Boy don't look good enough. Pogo, Tenebrism, Tuesday, El Drama, all suited by trips other than a straight mile at Ascot, or not suited by the trip at Ascot, in my opinion. So, yeah, we could be looking for a smallish field. Erevan would have been of most interest, but looks unlikely to run. I've spoke to Hump, the French expert on this channel. I spoke to him just a few minutes ago, and he said that Erevan is an unlikely runner. So yeah, we could be looking at a small field, and Inspiral could be definitely odds on by the time they come to off time. Look out for the decks on Monday, but you would say with the 5-day. The champion sprint over 6 furlongs is the next race we're going to look at. Often throws up a strange result. Soft ground, big field, end of a busy season for these sprinters. Last year's winner, Creative Force, is the 3-1 favourite at this stage. Has only ran 3 times this season and hasn't won. His second behind Naval Crown in the Platinum Jubilee at Royal Ascot over course and distance was a big run and a good performance. Any replication of that surely sees him go close again here, Creative Force. Although he was much busier in the lead up to this race last year, he ran 7 times between April and October last year ahead of the champion sprint, which he won. This year, he's only ran twice in the UK since April. He ran once in Dubai in March, and then he's only ran twice this season. Something might be amiss with him. It's been a bit quiet on Creative Force. He was a busy boy. He obviously likes his racing and racing often, and that's just not been the case this year. So I certainly wouldn't be in a rush to be backing him 3-1 Ante-Post. Rohan, who looks likely to run, absolutely loves 6 furlongs at Ascot with softer ground conditions. Looked better than ever almost last weekend when winning a Group 3 over course and distance. With ease in the ground, he's 6-1. He's a big contender, Rohan, particularly if there's question marks over Creative Force. Art Power, another contender, went off 3-1 favourite for this race last year and finished 4th. Was an easy winner at the Curragh in a Group 3 on his last start. Very much trained this season with this race in mind, in my opinion. He's 8-1, Art Power. If the race was this afternoon and they were the prices, I'd be backing Art Power at 8-1. At a much bigger price, Double or Bubble catches my eye in the Ante-Post market. She's 33-1. Ran a massive race over course and distance in the aforementioned Platinum Jubilee Stakes at Royal Ascot in June. She finished 11th of 24 on that day, but that doesn't tell the full story, really. 11th of 24 doesn't look great form on paper, does it? But she was only 3 1/4 lengths behind the winner that day, and had as good a chance as any in going into the final furlong, travelling really quite well. She was a big price that day, 28-1 and bigger, and they were all spread way across the track in that race that Naval Crown won. Yeah, I think Double or Bubble there ran an absolute screamer, to be fair. She'd be of interest if turning up. As would Castle Star, who I put up for Arc Weekend, but he was a non-runner. Again, I've got my eye on him at a bigger price. But we're going to wait for the final fields in that race. The Fillies and Mere Stakes is the most open Ante-Post wise and the toughest because loads of these are double entered. Some of them have got an option to run in the Champion Stakes. I've not got a clue who will run, and neither of the bookies, to be honest, because at the moment it's 6-1 the field that is obviously wide open and a minefield Ante-Post wise. Emily Upjohn could make a return, but she bombed out in the King George when she was last seen at the end of July. The Gosdens also have Mimic You, who was impressive at Doncaster last time and looks one that's very much on the up, unexposed at this stage. Last year's winner Ishada is entered, but has done virtually nothing since that victory a year ago. The likes of Tuesday are in here as well, Above the Curve, again for the Coolmore boys. The one of definite interest, and probably the only bet at this stage that I'm going to put up, is Eternal Pearl for Charlie Appleby. She's 7-1. The key at the moment is that she is an intended runner. She's won 2 Group 3s on the bounce and looked better than ever last time in a race that didn't go all her way, actually, at Newmarket, if you watch it back. She certainly wasn't favoured by how the race was ran that day and still won quite easily. 7-1 looks a nice bet to me. Given the question marks over the participation of many of the others in the markets, I think Eternal Pearl will run, and I think she'll be going off shorter than 7-1. The Long Distance Cup is the only Group 2 on the day, and the best news is that Stradivarius has been retired and won't be running, so we don't have to put up with that circus that goes with that horse, however old he is now, 7 or 8 years old, whatever. So Stradivarius retired, good news. This race really all depends on whether Kyprios runs or not, in my opinion. He might not, given he was last seen when winning a Group 1 on bad ground by 20 lengths on the 1st of October, earlier this month. So is he going to run just 15 or 16 days later? I don't know at the moment. It's potentially up in the air. He'll definitely be back next year. He's had a stellar season. Kyprios, I think he's won 4 Group 1s this season, or he's certainly won 3. He's got nothing to prove this season. He's going to be coming back next season, so he might not be running on Champions Day, but it would be great if he did. He's 5-2 currently, so that maybe suggests that he isn't going to be running. Trushan is the 7-4 anti-post favourite at the minute, but has failed on his last 2 starts. One at Doncaster, which was ugly, to be honest. He went off a very short favourite that day and got beat. That was on Irish Champions weekend, or the weekend that Her Majesty passed away. I actually hope both run, Trushan and Kyprios both run, because I'd be all over Kyprios as the apparent outsider of the two. Surely Trushan wouldn't go off shorter than Kyprios. Surely. I mean, if they were both to run, I can see Kyprios definitely going off shorter. But if he was the bigger of the two, I'd be all over Kyprios. But is he going to run? We don't know at this stage. St. Ledger winner Eldar. Eldarov is 5-1 and very much an interesting runner for sure. As is recent Cesarewicz runner and winner Waterville, who may well represent Aidan O'Brien. If Kyprios doesn't run, Waterville might run. So Eldarov, was the St. Ledger good form or not? We may well find out next weekend. Other than that, you're into familiar names such as Coltrane, Quickthorn, Trawlerman. It all depends on the participation or not of Kyprios, in my opinion. The Balmoral handicap over a straight mile is a race I really do like, but it's an anti-post minefield. A maximum of 20 runners. There's currently 68 entered. It's 10-1 the field. So there certainly won't be a selection at the moment. A load of the usual names are in there, so we'll look forward to the declarations next Thursday, and obviously we'll have a selection for you when they are in. Thanks for watching, but it's just the one anti-post bet for me at this stage, Eternal Pearl, to win the Fillies and Mere Stakes at 7-1 for Charlie Appleby. Hopefully, champion jockey-elect William Buick will be in the saddle. I see no reason why not. And 7-1 Eternal Pearl looks a good bet to me, anti-post. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon with more racing and darting content on Doubles and Trebles.